Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Pathfinder. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks on how to play Path. I'm going to talk about his grapple and how you can improve with it. I'm also going to talk about his zip lines and how to make better decisions when you play Path overall. If anybody is new here, I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss my next upload. And if you enjoy the video, please slap a like on it. So let's get right into it, guys. Alright, so anytime you're trying to maximize your grapple, whenever your cursor turns blue, that means your grapple can connect. If it's yellow, like here, that means I won't be able to connect. I'll go down a little bit, it's blue now. Now when my grapple connects, I'm going to press jump and it's going to fling me higher and further. So I recommend pressing jump when you do most of your grapples in order to create the most space.
Here I go!
Now sometimes you might mistime it. You obviously, if you're not used to it, it's going to take some time. And you might press it like a little bit after before your grapple connects, in which so you'll quickly notice the difference on how it's going to feel. It's just going to shoot you straight at it, and the grapple will be pretty ineffective. It's okay if that happens. It happens to me sometimes. I'm not like a goated Path main. I understand how to play him, and I enjoy playing him this season since his update. But if you're not used to his grapples, that is one thing that will help you improve, is if you're pressing jump. So look, I'm going to show you what it's like if I don't press jump.
Using grapple.
It's just going to fling me straight, and it's pretty useless. So Pathfinder is obviously a very popular legend, and it is because of his uniqueness. The mobility abilities that they gave him are very different than any other legend, and in basically any other game, obviously besides Titanfall. The grapple can get you in or out of situations, can create a lot of separation from your enemies. His zip lines can help move your whole team to better points of interest, to take on fights more in your favor, or to get out of situations that aren't in your favor. And his passive, which is his ability to scan beacons to learn about the next ring location, has always been strong in competitive Apex and ranked. I'm going to give you a play-by-play of this clip here about decisions I make that I felt were the right ones when I'm playing Path. My teammate goes down. I try to help that he doesn't get thirsted here, but then I start to hear that this guy's going to take the zip line. So I know I have a 1v1. Once I win that, I realize I'm low on shields, so I grapple up here because it's ultimate high ground, but I hear the Gibby climbing up, so I drop when I'm popping a battery. Unfortunately, this is a third party coming through this bottom door. I am able to get the knock on this caustic, but his teammate's right there and ends up knocking me. Eventually I scoot away and my teammate reses me. As soon as I give it up, I hear that one of the teammates is chasing me, or my Bangalore teammate. I look at her health, it's very low. Start to pop a med kit here. I can hear the lifeline behind me. Luckily she was one shot, so I'm going to take high ground here. However, I don't stay here because I'm in line of sight from the high ground of the zipline building behind that. So I retreat fully back here to full heal. I try to communicate to my teammate that he should back up because we are in the middle of two teams. We're being focused by them. Just how it goes when there's only 3 squads left. Then I realize my teammate's engaging, so I'm going to use my grapple here to get an alternate angle. This angle isn't that good because both of the enemies realize I'm right there. And then I start to panic a little, but I see the third enemy, so I realize I have to take this 1v1. Once I knock him, once again I'm low, so I try to hit a fat grapple to back up and heal, which I am successful at doing so. Now my next move is going to be taking high ground here. Path is great for getting alternate angles and taking high ground because high ground in Apex is generally king. Once I put on a few heals here, I know I have a good angle to re-engage in this fight. Although I don't do a lot of damage, my last bullets, I hit flesh on that guy. So I'm going to grapple in and try to take them out while they're weak. This is the only time I recommend grappling into a team. When you've done damage enough to know that one is really weak, or your teammate calls out that Gibraltar's weak or so-and-so's weak. Otherwise, grappling into a team can be very risky. And it's an easy way to throw your game. Because you don't know the circumstances that you're grappling into. Here are some more examples of doing damage to enemies and then using your grapple to get the jump on them so that they don't have time to heal. This can really tilt the fight into your favor and ultimately help you win fights. Okay guys, so anybody who's paid attention to the aftermarket update, Pathfinder did get a buff. His cooldown on his grapple has been altered to the amount of distance that you're traveling. So the shortest possible cooldown is 10 seconds and the longest is still 35 seconds. However, the amount of distance that they're factoring in, they are including your slide distance after your grapple into the cooldown time. So you may hit like a 20-second or 15-second grapple, but if you slide a good amount afterwards, you could have a 35-second cooldown. Now don't get me wrong, it's still handy to have like a 10-second cooldown if I need to grapple on top of a roof, like I previously just did. Or something like that, I need to hit a small grapple to get vertical over my enemy, whatever it may be. However, it does kind of stink that you may hit some sort of a medium-sized grapple and you're going downhill and you decide to slide to create more distance. They're going to penalize you for a maximum sized grapple, I guess. And so some of the bigger path mains have complained about this. Regardless, it's better than having a steadfast 35-second cooldown like they've had him for the past season or two. So it's better than nothing, but it is something to consider. If you're used to taking grapples and having your time in your head, like, okay, I'm 10 seconds away from my next grapple, you know, your grapple time is going to be varying a lot. So it's things to consider when you're playing Path now. Another thing that I've noticed, Season 6, they added Bloodhound and Crypto with the ability to scan beacons, right? So they said, since Pathfinder has had this ability, we need to give him something else. And what they gave Path was, every time he scans a beacon, the cooldown on his zipline is shortened by 10 seconds. So that doesn't mean that he's going to get his zipline in 10 seconds. It means the cooldown time has been reduced by 10 seconds. But what I have figured out is that every time you scan a beacon, you instantly get your zipline. So I think that's a bug because I reread the patch notes and it doesn't sound like that is what it's supposed to do. So for right now, at any point, if you're able to scan a beacon, your zipline will be up and the cooldown on your next one is reduced by an additional 10 seconds. Alright, this was a really basic example, but using your zipline like I just did to get high ground and flank these two teams is a really good way to be using Path to Zip. Obviously, the zipline is great for taking high ground and meeting your enemies there, or it's good for a flank like I just used it for. It's also good to obviously help your teammates when they need to get to the high ground that you are capable of getting on your own with your grapple. That is always why Path is going to be so viable in Apex. In this next clip, I'm going to be doing another play-by-play. And that will conclude the video. So for this next clip, guys, I want to walk you through exactly how I won this game. Basically on my own. So there's 3 squads left. We're engaging with one of these teams. I start to swing on the right to get alternate angles because I know that the way me and my team are set up, this is a good angle. I'm gonna grapple here. Now I let go and that's gonna stop my momentum anytime I grapple. I didn't want to get swung into that caustic trap and be opened up from crossfire in front of the caustic where this third teammate was. So then I realized I'm getting third party right now. So I'm going to commit to killing this caustic because I had him weak. Both of my teammates go down, I think fighting the third team. So I gotta play this like a solo. I'm gonna hit a grapple here to not be the focal point in between these two teams. I'm gonna full heal. Another Wraith disconnecting. And my goal is for this team to finish off the team that I already had 2 knocked on. I don't want them to hopefully get cleanly wiped. I'm hoping that the third can do some damage, which this guy was only 100 HP. So now it's a 2-on-1. This is I messed up the grapple. I wanted to take high ground over this lifeline, but I didn't time my jump correctly. It still worked out. I was still able to knock her. And then I'm waiting for the third. Now, this shooting here isn't that great. I just happened to outgun this Bangalore. My movement wasn't that good, and I don't know, I got a little lucky killing her. But the idea of grappling away and not being the focal point is what I want you guys to think about when you're playing Path.